All right. Good day to you. My name is Fred Oakman, and as always, with me today is Mr. Jake Peters. We are PS This Is Awesome, a PlayStation podcast. This is episode 188, and this is a show where we share our feelings about the current state of PlayStation. But before we get on with the show, I want to invite you all to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, youtube.com/PS This Is Awesome. Visit us over on Twitter at PS This Is Awesome and Tumblr, psthisisawesome.tumblr.com. If you want to make fun of our trophy list on the PSN, you can find me at anchorless_anyone and Mr. Jake Peters at jakesaw01. And as always, you can rate the show at psthisisawesome@gmail.com. And most importantly, don't forget to share the show with your friends. Make sure to leave comments and rate the podcast as you see fit. And as a reminder to everybody listening today, there is a video podcast as well, which you can watch the show if you prefer. And for the new and or long-time listeners, we now have a Patreon where you can support the show at a $1 level called the One and Only $1 Club. Head over to patreon.com/PS This Is Awesome to become a $1 patron and get your free die-cut vinyl sticker, which have been ordered and are currently in production on their way to PS This Is Awesome headquarters. So this is in this show, we're going to do a quick recap. It's going to be a longer one, Jake. I hope you're in it for a little bit here. I know you just got back from hockey, but the show we're going to discuss recent news, including Gamescom 2021, the new PS5 SKU, the recently announced PS Plus games for September 2021, maybe some sales on the PSN, maybe not. We won't touch any of that. But Horizon Forbidden West news, and most importantly, the recently announced PlayStation event, what we think might be coming. But with that out of the way, how are you doing today?
I feel like I'm gonna die.
Yeah? Hockey was tough on you?
It was the first game really that I played this year, and I feel like I'm gonna die. I don't know if you've ever overexerted yourself so much that like your whole body feels like it's hot, almost like you have a fever.
Yeah.
Or like you've ever exerted yourself so much that you throw up. Like, I'm not that bad,
I guess the throw-up thing's a little different for me. I don't think I've ever exerted myself so much. I take it back, running. Like, I think when I ran my first 5-mile run, I think I felt like I wanted to just puke. It was tough.
Yeah. So, my back hurts really bad, and I'm really hot. Probably shouldn't be drinking beer.
Yeah.
But it's part of the price you pay.
Yeah, and it's part of the ritual. So the problem is that you have tomorrow off and I have tomorrow off, right? So even though we're recording this on a Sunday, tomorrow is Labor Day. It's an American holiday, and so we don't work tomorrow. Is that right, or do you have to work?
I don't work. I just got a bunch of family stuff going on.
Good.
I got to deal with.
Yeah, I had a neighbor who's just launching all kinds of fireworks for Labor Day, which I thought was kind of strange, but the dog was freaking out and stuff, so be it. But yeah, man, I'll tell you what, let's talk about some games we're playing. Let's get right into the show, because you're not feeling like you're going to live very much longer. And I have some exciting news I want to share with you, which I think is strange that it took me this long. But a couple quick things. Okay, first off, I platinumed MLB The Show 2021. It's platinumed. I feel great about it. I had some help. I cheesed the last 2 trophies. The problem is there were 2 trophies that were really difficult to get. One was that you had to get walked 8 times in a game. That's just like so hard. Like if you've ever played those baseball games, every pitch looks good. So it's near impossible to not swing. And then you have to be extremely lucky that the opponent pitcher is just going to realize that you're not fucking swinging the bat and just still walk you anyways, right? So it's like a really difficult trophy to get. So a listener of the show came on and helped me cheese that trophy. And then the other trophy was that you had to pick somebody off successfully from leading off base, which means they have to take such an incredibly long lead off of the base that they're putting themselves in jeopardy knowingly, and then you have to catch it and throw them, pick them off. A lot of times, they always get back on time, right, in this game. So those 2 trophies are like super tough. The computer never leads off like that. So I'd have to play against a human opponent. You get online, you play these rando people, and either they won't steal unless they have a guy on the bag that's like 100 speed, and then you can never pick those guys off. And like they just cheese their team so good that like you can't ever get the trophy. So I got those 2 trophies. So I got the platinum and MLB. Everything else was hard earned. It wasn't a super hard platinum to get, but I did get that. Now this is the one I thought that you may think is interesting. Is, man, I'm playing Diablo 3 a lot. It's weird. There's something about that game that's like picking a scab. It's just like you can't leave it alone. Like when you finally get roped into it, like I know you and I played online a little bit, right? Like we played a little bit, and like your character was just so outranking mine. Like it was kind of fun. I got a feel for the game, but I don't think that like it got its claws in me. Probably because the way we were just addressing the game, right? You were trying to do the necromancer character, I think, or something at the time, and it was just kind of like an introduction for me, and it was good.
I can understand why it would be a little bit weird. So first of all, we don't have to hang on this, but that trophy you're talking about where you have to get walked 8 times in a game, I fucking hate trophies like that.
Yeah, me too.
That are literally just random chance. Like you basically just have to play a bunch of games in a row and just never swing at the ball and just hope that it happens 8 times in a game, unless you play someone online that'll just do it for you.
Yeah.
Just like fucking throw wild pitches on purpose.
Yeah.
And that to me is like it's a stupid trophy. It's like the one where you have to throw a guy out at that's leading off.
Happen.
That's more of a skill trophy. Right. I'm okay with those, but like the one where it's like, I don't know.
So
Diablo 3,
real quick. There was one other trophy I think that you would think is complete blasphemy. Then the other trophy in that game that I lucked into was, I think you had to have an 11 pitch or a 12 pitch at bat. So 3 strikes and you're out, right? 4 balls and you walk. That accounts for one way or the other. So you can only get 3 balls and 2 strikes. That means there's 5 pitches that you can take without swinging. In the other 6 pitches, you literally have to foul off and not have them catch, right? So like that trophy was ridiculous, and I got it just because I played so many games. I didn't even know it was a trophy.
Yeah,
but a trophy like that's just ridiculous. All right, go ahead. Sorry,
but the Diablo 3 thing, when we played, because by the time we played, I had a shitload of Paragon saved up from just playing before, and when I platinumed Diablo 3, and so. Like when we started off, like when I just recently did a necromancer to level 70, and it literally is at the point where, and I'm not even like super high Paragon. Like I'm like Paragon 150 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's at the point now where like when I start a new character, I can basically play a new character on like Torment 3, which is like really fucking hard for like a beginner. And you just, when you play on that high difficulty, you level so fast that like, I think I got my necromancer to level 70, like halfway through Act 2.
Yeah. Wow.
So like, it's not, so like I can understand when you're playing with someone who has that ability, where you're just trying to kind of make a new character and you're not getting like great drops and everything, but like the person you're with is just fucking steamrolling everybody.
Yeah.
Like I can understand why that would be a little bit frustrating, but yeah, dude, playing it by yourself, in my opinion, that's because I don't like playing with other people, but playing it by yourself is a good way to kind of like let it sort of dig into you a little bit, because you can take your time and you can approach things the way you want to. Yeah. You can learn the abilities because you can go a little bit slower. You can figure out what sort of
works
like,
and what doesn't, right? With your character.
Yeah. How you like to play and everything. And the thing that's weird about Diablo, that's a little bit different from other games, is that Diablo, once you get to level 70, pretty much the skills that you use is more dependent on what gear you have.
Oh yeah.
Instead of the other way around. Like typically games like this, it's like, oh, I have this skill set that I want to use. So like I find all this gear to sort of accommodate it. Whereas like Diablo, you find these legendary items and stuff that'll be like that'll put like huge buffs on certain skills. And so what you do is you'll find stuff that all kind of matches up, and then you'll use the skills that go with those items. And then so like the really good D3 players are typically proficient in like all of the abilities of a certain class. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's not just so like depending on what they pick up, they play whatever.
Pretty stat heavy stuff.
I'm glad. What class are you playing?
Barbarian. I figured that'd be the easiest one to start with. The thing is there's a couple things.
Barbarian's cool. I mean, they're all cool.
There's a couple things about it that I wanted to pick your brain. Maybe the show isn't the best place to do it, but the socket system, I have items that have sockets, but no idea how to put anything into sockets.
So you go to in your inventory, there's the little the one icon would that be like 4 o'clock somewhere in that area, 4 or 5 o'clock somewhere in that area. It's like the one just below the rings. And if you go to that, it's like all of the weird items that you carry that aren't like regular armor.
So I probably need to find stuff to put in there.
So if you go in there, one of the menus in there is gems. Oh, okay. And if you go to gems, you have to find a gem. If you don't have any gems,
so you got to click on the gem to put it in the weapon, not click on the weapon that has the open socket and select the gem. So I'm doing it backwards.
And then once you get through Act 2, you'll have access to the character Covetous Shen, who is one of the characters that hangs out at your base, and he kind of follows you from act to act. And once you have him, he can like remove gems from socketed items. He can like increase, like if you have like 3 of one type of gem, you can pay him some money and he'll take those 3 and make it into a higher tier of that gem. You can do like way more shit once you have him. And actually, in my experience, that's where all of your fucking gold goes once you get really good, like once you get to the higher levels, because you'll get to a point where you're like, okay, I've got 3 of this one gem and I want to go to the next tier and make 1 of the next tier. And just doing that will cost you those 3 gems and then like fucking 200,000. Wow,
which is a lot of gold, right?
But like, once you get to a certain point, like gold is sort of frivolous, right? You just get so much of it. Now, when you're doing gems, you can spend so much of it.
Right.
But gold is shared across all your accounts. So like when I platinumed Diablo 3, so I had to get level 70 in every single class. I had to do a hardcore character to level 70. Like once I did all that, I think I have like something ridiculous, like 200 million gold shared across all my characters. So like it really doesn't matter anymore. But that's how you do the socketing. And honestly, if you it really helps a lot.
I'm sure it does. I'm finding the game pretty easy right now. I'm just on the regular mode. I'm not doing a seasoned character. I'm just doing like the regular difficulty. Like I wonder if like when we played together, you gave me something that just made my character awesome. I had one item in my stash or something, and it must have been something that maybe I had gotten while playing with you and put it in the stash, or maybe it was an award or something. I don't know, but I'm like I haven't died yet. Like,
yeah, you can. I always advise, because like when you log in and you go to play, you can always bump up or down 1 level of difficulty without having to restart the game. So usually what I recommend is like, if you're just steamrolling, just fucking bump it up a difficulty, because as long as you're not like really struggling, the XP boost and the gold find and the magic find boost, all of that is worth it, because you'll get more shit way faster, and it'll let you kind of, because when it really gets fun is when you start getting like the magic items and stuff like that are really unique and not necessarily just running around with like fucking common items and stuff.
I'm enjoying it. I love the fog of war. Like I forgot how addicting it is to try to like get all the fog of war out of the way on the maps and stuff, and like try to find every nook and cranny. Yeah. All the little crypts that like maybe is just somebody's basement where there's like skeletons and stuff down there. It's really fun. They've
added so much stuff to Diablo 3 since it started. Like all those little, random ass encounters and stuff because some of them were there originally, but like, they got like the treasure goblins you can find and like all kinds of stuff that you just kind of stumble across when you're playing.
They remind me of the little guys in Golden Axe. like the treasure goblins, like the little gnomes that had the bags. Remember them? You ever if you ever played Golden Axe?
Yeah,
it's awesome. And then real quick, for anyone listening who's interested, Jake, I had talked about picking up that definitive series of The Walking Dead, the Telltale version, but it's published by Skybound now, and they did some developing on it too. I have been live streaming the episodes, so on our YouTube channel. And I thought that, like, I don't know. There's no reason to lock it away. There aren't a lot of people that are even really watching. I've had a couple people watch, say they enjoyed it. But I'm doing season 1, episode 1 through 4 are now on YouTube. You can watch me. I've slowly, as each episode I roll out, I've kind of made it a little better of a stream. The first 2, there was no camera on me, and the audio was kind of crappy. And then I found a way to do it from my computer. To do the live stream, and which is crazy, and you would think that it would be really crappy, but it's not. So, dude, I'm using Remote Play on the PlayStation app on my Mac, and I am streaming it through OBS to the YouTube channel with my Canon camera as my video camera, and it works just fine. It's pretty crazy. It's a really easy setup.
I'm sure it probably wouldn't work as well if you were doing something that required much more tactile feedback.
It's a great game to do it like that.
But something like that's a great solution. Since you don't have a capture card, I'm assuming, or anything like that.
No, nothing like that. I'm just using the DualShock 4 with it, and it's working really good. The streams have been really fun. I'll tell you what, though. That first season's so good. It's so fun to revisit. So I'm gonna blast through them all. Do maybe an episode a week, maybe 2 a week. We'll see. So if you're interested in watching those, you can go to the YouTube channel and check those out. Now, Jake, you posted that ride and review thing on there on the YouTube channel. I thought that was really cool, and I'd like to see more of those before it gets winter. Rather be cool if you did a couple more, but I don't even know. I guess I'm just kind of curious what you're playing, because that's really all I've been doing lately.
So, I haven't been playing a ton, but what I have been playing is I've been playing Hades.
Oh, yeah.
And Destiny 2 are the 2 games that I've been playing.
Oh, yeah.
I've been playing Hades, and I really like, here's the thing. It's really good. I will say, like, what everybody's been saying about it, like, it's really good. But it's still a roguelike. So if you don't like the roguelike games, you don't like fucking dying and starting over every single time, like, you may not necessarily like this game. Now, Hades does have a lot of stuff in it that some roguelikes don't have, that make it a little bit easier. You have more things that are permanent whenever you do a run or whatever, but you still have to do like run after run after run after run after run to like fucking get through the game. And it's hard to stay focused whenever I don't have a lot of time. So I'll get like 3/4 of the way through a run before work one day, and then like the next morning I'll like die, and then I have to start all over again. And like it's cool. They keep you coming back because I don't know how they do it, but they kind of trickle you a little bit of story every single time you die. I don't know how they do it.
That's kind of nice.
But like every time you die, they come back, and one of the characters wants to talk to you, and they give you some kind of filler that like fills in the story a little bit. It seems really interesting. I'm gonna keep playing it for sure. I do really like it. I just I'm kind of going slow at it because the roguelikes, they're not like really my cup of tea. The only one that I really kind of stuck with was Returnal, and that's just because that game is so much fun. Like the shooting in that game is so good. But I do really like it. Destiny 2, I've been playing that just because I wanted to get back into something a little bit more kind of I wanted to play a shooter. Destiny is really good. I'm trying to kind of get through all the DLC stuff that I purchased a while ago. Yeah. So I finished the Forsaken stuff, and I'm on the Shadowkeep stuff now. One thing that was kind of annoying about the Shadowkeep thing, and probably like seasoned Destiny players know all this, because I'm not a big online guy, I don't really know, is that like some of the campaign, at least in Shadowkeep, some of the campaign missions are like fucking strikes. So you have to play with other people. So I had to I this one I did on Friday, I just like did matchmaking and just picked like 2 other guys, just kind of jumped in and we did it, and it wasn't too bad. We did it in like a half an hour, and it was.
Did you chat or anything with them, or did you just?
No, there was no chat. We just kind of just blitzed the fucking mission, which was really cool. I mean, if I'm gonna do it, that's the way I want to do it. I don't mind because they're almost like AI. You know what I mean? As long as they're not being really derpy or anything like that. I will say though, is that like, people that are seasoned Destiny guys probably don't think about this a lot, but to somebody who doesn't play very much, when you jump in, it is so fucking confusing. There is so much stuff now, so many different types of like currency.
All those games are like that.
All these different like things you can do, and like then they have the legacy stuff that you can somehow bring back, and like now I can somehow upgrade my armor and stuff, and like. And then like every expansion they add more shit in, right? So there's all these like new mechanics that are there, and then on top of that, the story is really confusing. I have no fucking clue what's going on in the story. I want to watch some like story recap on Destiny, but the problem is that my understanding is that the lore in Destiny is so fucking deep that like a lot of the videos I've been seeing that are like deep dive explanations of what's going on, they're like 5 hours
Yeah, I've
long.
seen some of those. They're so confusing.
So like, I mean, I'm cool with it, but like, it just sucks when I'm doing these missions, and when the mission person, like for Shadowkeep, it's Eris Morn, like when she's talking to me about what I need to do, it's just fucking gibberish. She might as well be speaking another language, because she's all like, you gotta do the dream bane to the keep of the shadow monster, and I'm just like, she's like, get the Aldrin Sov and the cryptogryph, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about, lady? And so like, I'd like to get into the lore so I can understand it a little bit more, but just the missions are fun, the shooting's really fun, so it's not really hindering me all that much.
Yeah. And
since I was, the last time I was really into Destiny, they added I don't know if you've ever they add bows, like compound bows as primary weapons. Since then,
yeah.
Man,
those are cool.
They are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
They're like a hand cannon, but better. Like they're like one hit kills. If you charge the bow all the way, as long as they're like regular enemies, you just blast them. It's so satisfying. It's just slow, right? That's why that's the sort of the caveat.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I've been really enjoying it though. And I like, the other thing too is with like the light level and everything, I don't know what's important. And so like, you know, I'm really confused where like I pick up a piece of armor and like all of the stats other than like 1 or 2 are worse than the one that I had before. But for some reason the light level is better. Like, I don't know how all that stuff is mapped. So I just been like, oh, if it's got a better light level, fuck it. I put it on. I don't even like think about it. I'm just like, okay. Because I'm playing a legacy campaign, so I'm already over leveled for it. And because all that stuff is like light level 1100, whatever the fuck that means. And my character's like light level 1250 or something like that. So
you're kind of maxed out, yeah.
I don't know. So I've been kind of going through it, and cool. The one thing I don't like about the new Destiny stuff is every time there's a new season, they add like story content, which is awesome. It seems like they're really good.
Yeah, they're
nice. Doubling down on the story stuff. But when you jump into Destiny right after they update it, they force you to play the first mission of the new story content. And if it's like, fuck, I haven't done the rest of it yet, why are you forcing me to do this?
You got to play something out of sync.
Yeah, so you got to like play it out of sync, and then now I'm like, because like they did that with Beyond Light when we first started Beyond Light. So then it's like, okay, I did Beyond Light, and then I went back to play Forsaken and Shadowkeep, and it like spoiled shit from like the other two, and like it's just, I mean, I get it. It's a games as a service thing. Like you got to just keep up with it, otherwise you're behind. But
it's hard to do when you get older.
I'm really enjoying it. I don't mean to talk too much shit on it. I'm just saying that
it runs amazing too on the PS5.
Yeah, it's real good on the PS5. Yeah. But for a new player, I can understand how it could be really daunting.
Oh, for sure. Cool, man. So I'm glad you're playing some games. As we normally do with the show, let's jump into the news. Now, I don't know when exactly 2021 Gamescom happened, but it happened recently. It was last week, or it was like the middle of last week, or maybe just after we had recorded episode 187. And we saw a lot of game trailers, Jake. I don't know if you caught up with any of this stuff or not, but I'm going to run through it. And then I guess if you have questions or if you have any input, feel free to jump in. But this is super relevant. There was actually a lot of good stuff for a Gamescom, which I thought was interesting. The first one that I'm super stoked on is this game called Midnight Suns. So Firaxis did this, and they're the makers of XCOM, right? So we still haven't on consoles gotten the Chimera Squad, but I don't think Firaxis did that. I think that was another developer, but it was still in the XCOM world. I like the turn-based strategy games. This is going to be a Marvel world turn-based strategy game made by the makers of XCOM, and it looks like it's going to be cool. Like you actually play, I don't know how in a turn-based strategy game, I'm not sure how you play your character, like, because usually you control all the characters, but I think they give you a character that the story's based around, and it's a character that you create. And it is an actual Marvel. It's supposed to be like a Marvel character that nobody's seen yet, and they're in deep hiding, and they come out of nowhere, and they call upon you for help. And it's interesting. The game looks really good. I had no idea this was even getting made. Have you seen anything about this?
Midnight Suns? Yeah, I've seen minimal gameplay of it, but
it looks like XCOM.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks good. I mean, it's Firaxis, so it's going to be good as far as a turn-based strategy game goes. But it might be something that might get me into playing something that's Marvel related. I'm not really a big comic book guy, but it seems like if they're doing it, it's probably good. So I could probably get down with it. I think
Ghost Rider's in it, which is awesome. All right. Well, yeah. So that was like one of the big reveals. Another one was they're doing a Saints Row reboot, and it's being developed by Deep Silver Volition. And I've never played any of the Saints Row games, so this doesn't really affect me in any way. I mean, it looks fine. They did show a little bit of gameplay, but it wasn't anything that was just like, I don't know. I don't even know what Saints Row is about. Like I'm gonna be honest. So it looks like a Grand Theft Auto, like slapsticky.
Saints Row, yeah. Saints Row is just basically like Grand Theft Auto cross Looney Tunes. Like it's just it's just kind of a bizarre Grand Theft Auto, and maybe the industry kind of needs it right now because there's not going to be another Grand Theft Auto game for like another 15 years. So they're just going to keep milking GTA Online. Yeah. But dude, I looked at a lot of this stuff from Gamescom, and I know we're going to get into more of it, but I got to be honest with you. If you are just going to show me a CG trailer, I don't give a shit. I don't even want to see it, right? Because it tells me nothing. Like, I'm scrubbing through like a lot of these trailers from Gamescom, like the fucking Saints Row one, just cinematic. The Midnight Suns one, just cinematic. Now there is like a little bit of gameplay in one of the other videos that were released. And they did release gameplay for the Midnight Suns. They just didn't have it ready yet for Gamescom. Right. So like there is some stuff that I saw, but like, I don't know, I don't even want to see it unless you're going to show me what the fucking game is. Yeah. And so that's a little bit frustrating, but yeah, anyway, so Firaxis, that'll be cool. Saints Row, do you even care? I've never played one, so I don't really know. I've heard people really like them, so I'm kind of interested. I mean, it's coming out soon, so we'll see. I mean, what mood I'm in at the time. Yeah. The problem is that it's coming out in a really busy time. Freaking Horizon and all kinds of shit's coming out then. So it's going to be bizarre. We'll see.
Next up, Humble Games released some stuff for a game called Midnight Fight Express. This looked kind of like it almost looked kind of like, I want to say like a top down. I don't know. If I remember right, now when I made these notes, it was more fresh in my head, but I remember it looking interesting. Do you remember this trailer at all?
Yeah, I'm kind of looking through it right now. It looks almost like a.
It was interesting.
It looks like a top-down isometric beat 'em up kind of game, but it looks like it's more, melee combat heavy.
Yeah.
You know, almost like a Streets of Rage or something like that, but maybe with a little bit more technicality, like a Sifu or something like
Flying
that.
Warriors or something. Yeah,
I don't know. It's weird. It reminds me of like Streets of Rage meets fucking
Hotline Miami or something.
Hotline Miami.
Yeah,
like it's so bizarre.
Different, right? It looks interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks weird. I want to see more.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. And then we had another one that a lot of people I think were kind of jokingly laughing about. But I mean, Devolver's making it, so that's cool. So it's called Call of the Lamb. Art style looked good. It kind of looked like Flash artwork, but it was also had a weird 3-dimensional kind of skew to it, perspective. So I thought it was really neat. Just to remind the listeners, other releases that Devolver had done that were, speaking of Hotline Miami, they did 1 and 2, as well as Enter the Gungeon, and one of my favorite little RPGs that a lot of people haven't played called Crossing Souls. So Devolver can come out with a couple neat things every once in a while. So they're a studio to watch, but I think Call of the Lamb looks interesting. Like, it's weird. Like, are you watching that? Like, the perspective on the flash art's kind of weird.
It looks like they made this in like the engine for Octopath Traveler, where it's like 2D, 3D, like kind of a thing. Where it's like they did 2D art on a 3D plane or on a 3D model, and it looks cool. I got to be honest with you. As soon as I don't know, because I'm watching these with the sound off, so I don't know what's included and what's not. But like, it seems like maybe there's some base building and shit in there, which I literally
I hate that shit.
Base building is such a fucking turn off for me nowadays. Like way back when it was like, oh, this is kind of cool, you know, this is interesting.
Unless that is the purpose of the game, like a Sim City or like
like if I want to do that, I'll play fucking Minecraft,
right?
But
right, Warcraft.
You know, like I don't want to have to build a base to like have some minions to then do a thing.
Okay,
right? So
fair enough. You probably do have to build like some sort of cult or something, my guess.
But it does look good. The game looks good. I'd like to see more about it for sure. It looks really interesting.
Yeah. And then we saw more tribute games out of Montreal, published by. Now I heard someone say, remember a couple episodes ago, I didn't know how to pronounce. It's the publisher. I was saying Dotemu. You were saying Dotemu. I heard someone call it .emu. And I was like, I don't think that's it. That's interesting. Like emu, like an emulator, but I don't think that's like emu. I don't know.
It wouldn't be one fucking word if that's how you.
I wish someone from the company would just fucking record their voice saying how to pronounce it, because they're like kind of active right now.
We should just email their PR and be like, how do you pronounce your name?
Yeah. But we saw more from TMNT, Shredder's Revenge from them. That game looks cool. It's another beat 'em up. Very, very much akin to the original Turtles in Time and stuff like that. Big arcade smash.
It looks so fucking good, man.
Yeah, looks so fun. So that's kind of a no-brainer for me, because I really enjoyed Streets of Rage 4, and I love those style of games. So Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga, developed by Traveler's Tales, being published by Warner Brothers Interactive. It's the 6th entry in the Lego Star Wars series following The Force Awakens. This is kind of a big deal. I think people are excited for another Lego game, and it's amazing how many of these they just keep churning out, dude. There's so many of them. I think this is, I don't know if this encompasses all of them or like what the deal is with the Skywalker Saga, but
I think it's supposed to be every mainline Star Wars game, episode 1 through 9. So
a bazillion playable characters.
It's like 300 playable characters or something like that. Yeah, I don't know if I appreciate the Lego games, but there's so many and there's so much.
If you're like the collectathon style games, like this is right up there, because there's so much shit to like unlock and collect and different characters because you unlock the characters by collecting them somehow, and then you can play as them once they're collected. And it's just, those Lego games are crazy, and you can't ever really die, which is another thing that's interesting. You just lose more Lego pieces when you get hit and stuff, but there's like no death in it unless I don't think there's any death at all.
It does look really good. I'll be honest, like even for a Lego game, it does look really it looks like it's more there's more to it than the average Lego game, which is really
and the humor in these games it's always spot on. So the Lego games are
it's
funny.
Innocent, it's nice, it feels good.
Yeah. All right. So Ubisoft Toronto is developing and being published by Ubisoft. Far Cry 6. More Far Cry 6 stuff came out. This game
can't wait
awesome.
for that game.
I think we need we need a Far Cry game. Like we need a first person game. Really is what we need. So don't really need to talk about that. I heard that. I don't know what that was. Someone just shoot your house or something. That was crazy.
I have no idea. That was bizarre.
Ghost, man. I'll keep an eye out behind you.
Yeah.
But so Jet the Far Shore, we saw a lot of this game a long time ago, and it must have got held back or something, but it's being developed by Super Brothers plus Pine Scented with music by Scientific, SCNTFC, I think is a notable music thing. I don't really follow Scientific, but I guess it's kind of a big deal. This game's releasing October 5th, so pretty soon. It looks interesting. Everything about this game looks interesting to me. It could be boring or it could be cool. It's going to be one or the other.
Yeah, I don't know. They freaking showed this game when they announced the PS5, and we still don't have it.
About a year.
It's going to be one of those, like, it seems to me like it's going to be one of those Zen games, you know what I mean, where you just kind of play, like Flower or something like that.
Interesting.
But it is one of those games where I think it could be really good, or it's just going to be just fucking mediocre and everyone's going to forget about it.
Like Abzu.
Yeah.
Abzu looked like it was going to be really cool, and then it was just kind of like, meh.
I think a lot of people liked it, but the problem is people compared it to Journey, and then when it wasn't as good as Journey, everyone was just like, oh, fuck this game.
Yeah, right. Journey had such a great impact on people. Next one, Seafood, which is the one that you and I called when they showed it. It's about aging. It looks like it's one of those rinse and repeat, die over, and then you come back. You're a little older. You're a little more developed as a Kung Fu Master. Developed and published by Slow Clap. And I don't really have anything else to say about it. It looks interesting. We'll see how it pans out. We saw more of the Death Stranding director's cut, Kojima Productions, and then lastly, we saw Call of Duty Vanguard. We saw them play through a single-player mission, and that's being developed by Sledgehammer Games. I gotta say, it looked pretty good. World War II. I mean, it looked good. I mean, it's Sledgehammer. I don't know. We'll see. It looked good. That's all I really have to say. And they were going more for, I think, singular. And, a lot of those Call of Duty missions are like, there's people all over and stuff blowing up all over the place and big scale. They're going more for like a more linear, I think, story, which looks kind of interesting to me. I think that's what I got from it, at least, but I'm not some of the stuff the developers were talking about. So that's pretty much what happened at Gamescom. I mean, was there anything there, Jake, that really stood out for you that like what would you say you're the most interested in out of all that?
So let's see here. Hold on. I'm just going to kind of scroll through the list you got here.
Yeah.
Of the games in the list we talked about, what I'm most excited for is Far Cry 6. But I got to be honest, even though it's not a PlayStation game, Halo Infinite comes out in December.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty stoked about that. Now, I don't know if I'm as stoked about. I'm probably more excited for Halo than Far Cry, but Far Cry 6 looks really fucking good. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, cool.
And obviously, a lot of these other games look good too. Like Call to the Lamb, we talked about. That looks really cool. Obviously, TMNT looks great. I couldn't even beat Death Stranding once, so I don't know how I would get through the director's cut.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
maybe for someone
Call of Duty, like I'll wait until somebody tells me that's really good. Just rent it,
man. Just rent it.
You know what I mean?
Redbox or something.
But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my take.
Yeah. That's the beauty of having the disc version of the PS5 is you can rent Redbox versions of games and play them.
Is there even PS5 games in Redbox?
Probably. I mean, yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, I would imagine.
Welcome to the PS This Is Awesome Patreon page. For those of you that don't know, my name is Fred Oakman.
And I'm Jake Peters.
And we're a PlayStation podcast currently in our 10th year. Our first episode aired in July of 2012, where we discussed and speculated on the arrival of the PS4. Over the years, we've used this podcast to take a break from adulting, share our love of video games, and in particular, PlayStation.
The audio podcast is available on all major streaming services, and we have recently made the leap to uploading video content and video podcasting to our YouTube channel, as well as the very occasional Twitter post or live stream. Over the years, we have covered everything from PS3 to PS Vita through the launches of PS4, PSVR, and now PS5. As our audience has grown over the years, we have decided to start this Patreon with the hopes of creating a medium in which we can give you the opportunity to help support our show.
And as a test bed, we're starting with a single tier. It's called the one and only $1 Club. So with your support at the $1 level, we're going to mail you a premium vinyl cut sticker and give you a shout out on the podcast. But at this time, unfortunately, we can only ship to the US and Canada. But this is subject to change depending on your interest.
So whether you're new to the show or you're a frequent flyer, we are forever thankful for your support and hope you can find it in your little gaming heart to join us in the one and only $1 Club. Until next time, like PlayStation, podcasting, and Patreon.
P.S. This is
Jake,
awesome.
the PS5 has a new SKU, and it weighs in a little bit lighter. We finally got to see a proper teardown of the unit, and it's lighter because, Jake, you guessed it, the heatsink is way smaller. It looks like there's way less copper in it, and the fan seems smaller with less blades. I don't know if you saw the teardown, but it is interesting. Usually this, and it does run a little warmer. They did some measurements on that, so the new PS5 runs a little warmer. They're probably doing some changes to try to get more units out. Now, is it at the expense of the machine's longevity, or did they overcompensate when they made the first ones, the first SKU, and they're like, hey, we don't need this much shit in them? I don't know, like, what's going on here. Sony hasn't even really publicly talked about it, but
I think that it's probably, I don't think that they would release a console that runs hotter unless they knew that it was going to be okay to do that. In the long run. I'm guessing that they probably did this to reduce cost and increase throughput. But personally, if their sort of marketing strategy is to say like, yeah, we made this new console because it's lighter, I'm like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, right.
You buy it.
It's not like you got to carry it
in one spot, and then like, I don't care if it's 50 pounds. I don't give a shit. I put it right there, and then you never have to move it again. Yeah, that's unless you literally have to like reorganize your living room.
It's not smaller by any stretch, so I mean, it's not taking up less space.
Yeah, like what I want out of a redesign is a console that doesn't look like a vagina.
I want one that does. Sorry.
Literally, all they got to do is just. And I know other podcasts have talked about this, but that's because it's so obvious. Just like make the new side pieces. Like even if Sony wants to sell you to them in like hyperinflated prices, I don't give a crap. Just like give me like some straight sidewalls, or like a black one, or maybe I can customize it and put a picture of my dog on it or something.
Well, they got to do this stuff little by little, right? Because they want to milk you for every last cent.
But you would think with like all their supply problems and stuff right now, that's probably one thing that they could do and get out to the customer.
If they would have
to kind of like spread goodwill.
If the new SKU, like they were like, oh, we can't give you replaceable covers on the original, but the new SKU, we're gonna make these compatible ones that you can order from us. That would drive up sales. That would drive up interest. No one would give a shit about the heatsink at that point. They would just be like, oh, cool, now I can modify this shit.
Someone came out, like there's a couple companies that came out and like offered aftermarket side plates, and Sony just sued the shit out of them.
We talked about that.
And it's like, I don't care if you're going to be a dick and sue them if you are going to do it yourself. Like if you're going to come out and do it yourself and be like, here's our Sony branded official fucking sidewalls, then yeah, okay, I understand why you wouldn't want a competitor.
But if you're not going to do it yourself,
if you're not going to do it yourself, then let people want something else for their consoles to make it look a little bit different. Not everybody wants a white console. Almost every piece of electronics for entertainment stands is black. Yeah. Almost every single piece. And you released a white console that's got to sit in there and stick out like a sore fucking. and you won't give them even the option to purchase a separate side piece for it.
Yeah.
To make it black so that it blends in.
Yeah, it's wild.
I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
But anyways,
it is weird.
That's a thing. So, real quick, an employee at Naughty Dog retweeted a Naughty Dog post about hiring new talent and stated, in quotes, "We're aggressively hiring. Apply if you want to be part of bringing the cinematic experience between players in our new standalone multiplayer action game." So they are working. I'm guessing this is about Last of Us Factions. They've been working on this. So they're still hiring for people to work on this thing. So they must be quite a ways out still from this. So I bet you 2022, the end of 2022, we see something about this. Naughty Dog, we know they take their time with this stuff. We haven't seen any trailers. We haven't seen anything. Now, we're going to get and talking about the PlayStation, whatever the experience. It's not PlayStation experience, the whatever it is, the PlayStation things they've announced recently. They might show something there. We don't know. But I guess with that being said, I was looking at Push Square, and it's kind of interesting that, we look at these games and we think about how long it takes to make them, right? One of the benefits of being a first-party Sony studio and having other first-party Sony studios that are doing good work, right, is that now the communication lines are open between studios. And if you're both kind of like owned by Sony, and Sony says, hey, we want you to share this with this company so they can make their shit a little quicker, then like you can start sharing assets. So I was reading on Push Square that infamous Second Son, there were assets from that game that were borrowed. Naughty Dog borrowed some assets to help build The Last of Us 2. Parts of The Last of Us 2 were already set to take place in Seattle, and we know Second Son was all based in Seattle, so they had that shit already mapped out for the most part. So they used a lot of those assets. They dipped into that bank. It was already created by Sucker Punch, so the assets weren't included in the finished product, but it definitely helped speed up development for the Seattle portion of Last of Us 2. So this is where it gets really interesting between developers, right? So it makes me wonder, like, even though they're hiring aggressively for this online multiplayer game for Factions, like, what other first-party studios may they be able to borrow stuff from to kind of get the ball rolling faster? Like, they don't really do a lot of online shit. Like, granted, like Uncharted has online. The first Factions was cool, but I mean, it was small, right? It was like more small. Here's a level. Here's a level. Here's a level. Here's the game mechanics, and then you're in a room. It's very. I think what Naughty Dog's going to do with Factions is they're going to do something really creative somehow that's just going to blow all of our minds. Either it's going to be awesome or it's going to be like, this is not for fucking me. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
It's not going to be. I can tell you right now, it's not going to be bad. It's going to be one of those things where it's like,
yeah,
I almost guarantee you that this game is going to turn out to be one of these things where I'm going to play it and I'm going to be like, man, this is fucking awesome. I wish it was a single player game. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's probably going to be, unless but who knows? I mean, the survival mode in fucking survival mode in Factions from the first Last of Us, it got its hooks in me. I fucking loved it.
Yeah, dude, you played the crap out of that game.
So, I mean, I had to play it for like 50 hours to get the platinum, which I did. But it was really, really good. And, they could do something really exciting with this. But if, Naughty Dog's always pushing the limits, so they could come up with. I think they're going to come out with something that's really impressive.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's going to be for me is going to be a completely different story.
Well, they said they're going to bring. So that quote again, it says from the employee, says, we're aggressively hiring. Apply if you want to be part of bringing the cinematic experience between players in our new standalone multiplayer action game. So is it going to be a co-op game? Is it going to, like, how are you going to make this cinematic between online players? Like, that seems crazy. Like, I don't even, dude, I can't wrap my brain around it.
I'm literally envisioning a fucking Last of Us MMO. Like where you just create a character. And are you going to be a part of the Fireflies? Are you going to be a part of the fucking
and it's this
douchebags
huge open world
or whatever the hell they are? And it's just they just drop you into this world. Maybe it's a small portion of it or whatever.
Yeah.
But they experimented with a lot of the open world sections and stuff, and it's like it's kind of PvE at points. You're fighting
depending on what you run into. There's clickers, there's people, there's factions,
and there's probably PvE components. I bet it's going to be a lot like Destiny.
And there's going to be seasons, and it's like, who won this season? Did the Fireflies win? Did the whatever?
Yeah, I mean, they already spent so much time developing the meta game for the first factions, where there was like, did your people survive
so
to
cool.
the end of or whatever? It was really awesome. I could see them basically taking that to the next level, where in this one, there are literal like people in the game that are it's not meta anymore. It's not just numbers on a screen. It's literally like people in a town, and like maybe your town gets fucking raided, or people start starving like literally on the screen and are dying in the streets and stuff. Like
it could be so wild,
really, man. Really impressive. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not really that big of a leap either, because there are other games that all do pieces of
but
this.
if Naughty Dog getting involved, it's just going to be next level. It's going to be next level. They just put it all
together, and then Naughty Dog put that little Naughty Dog spice on it, and it's going to be fucking awesome. Yeah. I don't know that I'm going to play it, but it's going to be fucking awesome. I can tell you that.
Yeah. And I hope that they keep it kind of grounded into some sort of, the one thing about Red Dead Redemption Online that I really like the idea of was that it was going to stay really grounded, right? But then it just gets wacky and crazy over time. So I just hope that like a game like this, but then again, you gotta measure that against the appeal, right? Who's your audience? What are you trying to offer something different? Are you trying to offer a game that has this really grounded vibe to it, or do you want to have wacky stuff, wacky crazy things? Because even in the Uncharted multiplayer stuff, they had wacky crazy outfits and stupid stuff that you could wear, and like stuff that
I don't think they're going to do that with The Last of Us. I don't think that they would. If you just look at what they did with The Last of Us Part 2 and how fucking serious that game is, the idea of them doing a factions mode where it's like, Grand Theft Auto Online or something like that.
Here's a Michael Myers mask you can run around in. Or
I don't know. I mean, maybe you can make yourself look silly by like attaching pots and pans and shit to yourself, because that's the only thing you can find to make armor. But like, that fits the world. You know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily out of.
I just hope it doesn't get crazy is all. So speaking on that, though, more Naughty Dog news real quick. Don't let it be cause for concern that they have been putting their efforts towards an exclusively on multiplayer game taking place in the canon of The Last of Us. Both Druckmann and Wells confirmed that it's in Naughty Dog's DNA to keep making story-rich single-player games. So Wells indicated that while exploring new IPs, it is exciting, but they'll most likely see more from established IPs in the future. So that's kind of nice.
I'm actually really sort of, other than factions, I'm just kind of sort of dreading the next
Naughty Dog game,
10 years of Naughty Dog, because they're rebooting fucking The Last of Us Part 1.
That's dumb. Yeah, I think that's a bad call.
They're doing like, now I will say that if they do decide to take over the reins of the next Uncharted game, and hopefully it's not a fucking reboot, and it's like a true sequel that like continues at, because I want them to continue after they give you like sort of they give you an out for making a sequel.
They give you a little bit of closure
4.
And a little bit of a doorway opens.
Yeah. I mean, they say that Nathan Drake is done, and I believe that, but there are other characters that they can use. I don't want to spoil anything, but like, there are other characters that can continue that story, and I think that if they're going to do Uncharted again, that really makes sense. Maybe they go back to Jack or something like that, which I guess is possible. That's kind of a weird thing for them to do.
I want to see an Eddie Raja spinoff.
An Eddie Raja spinoff? That would be
Drake.
fucking
so good. Yeah, maybe they go back to Jack,
golden
man.
Desert Eagle.
Yeah, it's so funny. Maybe they go back to Jack. Who knows what they do? Maybe, maybe they're just throwing a red herring out here too. Maybe they've got something in the works right now that's a new IP. Maybe they're working on rebooting Resistance. Who knows?
No,
man,
they're not going to do that. But I would love to see them do something a little less grounded. Like, imagine if they did like a fucking space game.
Yeah, I know. We've talked about that. That would be so cool. That would be awesome.
Just like imagine like The Last of Us, but it's like takes place on the fucking
Mars
like
or something,
space station or something like that, or Mars, where there's like the element of nature that is against you. Instead of being this cordyceps virus, it's like dying of sun radiation or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they could do something really cool that is grounded but also futuristic. I don't know if I'd want them to go backwards in time. I mean, they could do something, medieval or whatever, which would be kind of interesting. But I think it would be really cool for them to go forward in time, like for them to make like even like an Alien game or something like that would be really fucking wild.
It would be kind of cool. I have it in my blurb here, notes. I'm going to pass over it, but I was just going to say that game Aliens Fireteam Elite came out, and there were some people developed by Cold Iron Studios. A lot of people were got a lot of commotion this past week. A lot of people writing about it. A lot of people saying, having opinions about it. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's cool that there's an Aliens game. But let's skip over that because there's not really anything else to say about that, but it exists. The studio's hiring, based in San Jose. But anyways, PS Plus games coming out this month for September seem to be shaping up to be, and they are Overcooked, All You Can Eat, Hitman 2, and Predator Hunting Grounds. So all these games, I believe, are probably really decent games, but they're not in my wheelhouse, I don't think. So
yeah, sometime I really want to try the Hitman games because from what I understand, they're really fucking good. But I just haven't been in the mood to play that type of a game.
Yeah, I'm not a big stealth person.
A lot of people are already calling Hitman 3 their game of the year, and that came out in January.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty impressive. So I'm really interested to see what that's all about, but I just have to be in the right mindset for it. I don't want to jump in and not be in the right mindset, and then I just don't finish.
Have a bad experience, you just never go back.
I'm not in the mood. Yeah.
Well, hey, there are some rumors circulating that Norman Reedus, he's pretty much famous for the Boondock Saints movies and also in The Walking Dead is probably why he's more famous. But he was in Death Stranding. He was the main guy cast to act in that, and he's in talks. There are rumors that he's in talks for a Death Stranding sequel. However, there was a recent Walking Dead roundtable that somebody indicated they heard him say this at, but there's no video clip anywhere in existence of him saying this. So it's still kind of rumor and speculation. And I didn't play Death Stranding. I know you did, and I don't even know how a sequel would work based on what I know of the game.
I didn't get to the end of the game, so I have no clue. But
it's sold okay.
From what I understand, I was just starting to get to the point where it gets a little bit more exciting. But that first 5 or 10 hours where you're just fucking walking and walking and walking and walking and walking, and I'm like, this is cool. Like, the music is awesome, and Kojima did a great job making it super cinematic. Everything looks great, and the moments that when you come up against the fucking spooky
bad
people.
Things,
I can't remember what the hell they're called. It's really tense and it's really really wild, but I don't know. I would have loved that game to have, a little bit more of an action component to it.
Yeah.
And I know that that's not what he was going for, but so I don't know. I mean, this is cool if it is real even.
Yeah. It's something that was out there. People were talking about. So moving on, there's been a lot of scuttlebutt about Horizon Forbidden West. The Fallout to Horizon. We've got an official release date. It's February 18th, 2022, finally. And a news point that my brother may actually care about is Aloy, the main protagonist in Horizon is going to be a playable character in Genshin Impact limitedly. So you will be able to somehow unlock her, acquire her for a short amount of time if you want her in your arsenal. So that's a nice little cross promo thing they're doing. But as an aside, Sony came out originally and announced that you would not be able to upgrade the PS4 version to the PS5 version for free unless you bought like a super deluxe version of the game or something. I believe that was it. And then they've since come back out and rolled back on that after some pushback, and they redacted it and said, no, we're gonna let you upgrade it, don't worry, for free. So it's kind of weird because, you know, a lot of the complaints we're like, so what? I can't play Horizon when it comes out because I don't want to have to buy the game twice, and I can't get my hands on a PS5, right? So that's the issue, right? So if I'm a PS4 owner, I'm not going to buy it for a PS4, beat it on there, and then not be able to upgrade to the PS5 when I finally can buy a PS5 without buying it again. And so this kind of falls back on Sony for not having enough consoles available. So I mean, if they had,
it has nothing to do with that. It's just Sony being dicks.
Well,
it's free upgrades.
It's a bit of
That's
both,
really all
kind
it
of
is.
though. I think people are mainly upset though because they don't have PS5s that want them, and they're saying, "Well, I'm not going to buy the game."
That is undoubtedly part of it,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of it too is that like literally everybody else is offering free upgrades for their games. Everybody
pretty
else.
much, yeah, pretty much.
Except for Sony first party. Every other fucking game is a free upgrade.
Yep, Metro Exodus was free. I actually started a list. I have a list. Let's talk about it real quick. I was on the Push Square site, and they had a list of games that launched on PS4 that have been upgraded for the PS5. And I believe these were free upgrades. So Ghost of Tsushima, Crash 4, Spider-Man Miles Morales wasn't free though. That wasn't a free upgrade. Control, Fortnite, No Man's Sky, Rainbow Six Siege, FIFA 21, NBA 2001, Neo, Warframe, Tony Hawk 1 and 2, Genshin Impact, Final Fantasy 7, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Marvel's Adventures, Dead by Daylight, Ride 4, Maneater, Doom Eternal, Elder Scrolls, Jedi Fallen Order, Judgment, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Madden 21, Mortal Kombat 11, Destiny 2, and Borderlands 3. That doesn't encompass all of them, but those are the ones that apparently launched on PS4 that are now upgraded for PS5. So at least they're doing that. But I mean, like, yeah, you're right. Like, I think most of those are free upgrades. That was on Push Square's website. They're keeping a running tally. And I don't know how you get on that list. I get, you know, Metro's not on there, but it wasn't released on didn't launch on PS4. So, anywho.
Yeah.
Anywho, man, there's a nice sale going on the PS Store. Essentials pick. You can get Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. You and I talked about it last episode at $35 now. And It Takes Two is available for $30, and Resident Evil 2 is $16. So
I might actually pick up Black Ops Cold War because I've heard the campaign is
for
really
$35
good, so
those games are usually don't get them on a discount like that. So,
and I could give two shits less about the multiplayer, but $35 is worth it for me for a good campaign, even if it's only 10 hours long or whatever.
And it's running on the PS5, I believe. So it's a PS5 version. So you get the haptics, the adaptive triggers, all that stuff. So not a bad deal. And then PlayStation Showcase was announced recently. It's going to air on September 9th. Sony came out and said it's going to be 40 minutes. They indicated it will be a look into the future of PlayStation 5. We're going to get updates from first-party PlayStation Studios, right? And they made a point to indicate that VR is not going to be making an appearance, but plenty of great PS5 games from developers, large and small, will be showcased. So what are we gonna see, man?
I have a feeling that you probably will see something about factions here.
God of War,
even if it's just like a splash teaser.
You think factions? Right? I don't know, man. You think they're ready for that?
I don't think it's gonna be. You're not gonna get a release date. You're not gonna probably even get gameplay, but they're probably gonna be like officially announce it.
That's gonna be exciting.
It has not been officially announced, right? So they're like, yeah, we've been making a standalone multiplayer game, but they haven't really announced it.
What is it? So, is that Thursday?
Yeah. So that's really the only. Trying to think.
Do we get a release date for God of War? Are they further ahead?
I would say that you're more likely. I would say you're more likely to get some kind of a gameplay for God of War than a release date. The only thing, you might not even get gameplay. You might just get I would bet you're probably more likely to get a cinematic trailer
for God of War. This is your prediction?
Yeah.
Are we doing predictions? Want to do predictions?
I think that they don't want to. Sony's been really stingy about like not over trying to like announce too much, right? So, I mean, they didn't show gameplay. I mean, Horizon Forbidden West was supposed to release this fall, and they didn't even show gameplay until like July or August. So, I don't have faith that I think they're going to say something about God of War, but I don't think that they're going to show really much of anything. You're not going to get a release date. It might say like coming 2022 or something like that, but it's not going to be like, you know, a fucking hour of gameplay and then, you know, coming June whatever.
Do we see any gameplay? Do you think we're going to see any gameplay of God of War at all?
If I'm a betting man, I say no.
All right, so I'm going to put you down for a cinematic trailer for God of War. I'm saying God of War gameplay / story trailer. This is Sony's, dude. They're not going to have a showcase until this time next year. So I mean,
yeah, but they might show like they could show other stuff like they'll probably show maybe something for the new Gran Turismo game. They might show something for
Kenna Bridge of Spirits for sure.
Yeah, Kenna. They might show if this is me hoping, I don't know if they're going to do this or not, but a full sized follow up to the Astrobot game, like an actual like legit Astrobot game.
All right,
like coming out of Team Asobi.
I'm going to say we're going to see an unannounced first person shooter. Fingers crossed it's going to be a Resistance trailer, like some sort of like teaser.
It could be a remastered collection. We talked about that a lot, and I hope they do it, but I don't know if they will or not.
I think
maybe. Oh, you know what? They might drop a smidge of a tease for Spider-Man 2.
Ooh,
which would be interesting.
I think it's possible. That's been their herald. They you know, that's their thing. I think I'm gonna throw something out, and then we got to pick our top 3 things, each of us, that we think is gonna happen, and then we'll revisit this after this week. I'm gonna throw this out there just to get your brain going a little bit. Blue Box Studios abandoned turns out to be, and they're gonna drop some sort of crazy PT thing, and they're gonna say they own it.
Yeah, I mean, it could very well be there.
Maybe not PT, but Silent Hills, right?
Something.
Maybe we get
something.
All right, so give me the three things out of the things we've kind of speculated that you, or if you were a betting man, that you would put money on, Jake, and then we're just gonna save this and revisit it next podcast. Give us something to talk about next podcast. See who had some correct answers, correct predictions.
So, let's see here.
I'll just highlight them on our document here.
I would say, I'm not going to say that they're going to show Horizon, because that seems like almost a slam dunk.
Yeah, no, yeah.
If I had to guess, I would say God of War, Factions, and Spider-Man 2 is what I'm going with. Are going to be my 3.
All right, I'll just highlight them. And you're saying cinematic trailer for God of War, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And I think Spider-Man 2 will be even less than that. It'll be like the first teaser for Miles Morales, where it was literally just like some lightning shooting up his arm, and then it was like Miles Morales.
Okay, fair enough. Man, I can't take any of the ones that you have, which I agreed with you on a lot of them. So I'm going to say, mine's going to be a little more out there. I'm going to say we're going to see some sort of first-person shooter announcement, right? Something. Because they have to know that we need it. But Far Cry's coming out. I don't know. We need something original. I'm gonna stick. This is such a risky one, but I'm gonna stick to my guns on some sort of clarification on this blue box bullshit. PT, Silent Hill, something. I mean, we're getting close to Halloween time, right? They're just gonna drop something crazy on us here. Maybe be the right time to do it. And then I'm going to go God of War, but I'm going to say we're going to get gameplay God of War. So that'll be my yin to your yang. So those are my three. And like you said, the Horizon thing's a sure bet. I think Kenna Bridge of Spirits is a sure bet. It'd be cool to see something about Astro Bot. It'd be cool to see, man, I don't know, some sort of remastered Resistance would be fantastic. It's a pipe dream. It's never going to happen, but I would love to see it.
It would be kind of bold if they announced some kind of like expansion or DLC for like Returnal, maybe like another biome or something like that.
Yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it?
Or maybe like Media Molecules actually making a fucking game.
They're gonna announce that the expansion for Returnal can only be played in dreams. All right.
They're going to announce Dreams 2 coming out in 2045.
Yeah, you got to fly.
Only playable on PlayStation Move.
You got to die and then wake back up to play it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move forward real quick. There was a sci-fi third-person shooter that dropped on the PlayStation YouTube channel called Project Magnum. It was announced and a trailer dropped late Wednesday night. It looks like it's going to be a co-op experience. This thing looks really, really, really slick.
Dude, it looks awesome. I don't know what the fuck this game is.
Yeah.
And it probably won't look that great in real life, but it looks awesome. The trailer looks awesome. Anyway.
Yeah. I have on my notes it's developed by Nexon. It's a Japanese studio. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I think maybe it's developed by a different developer. Maybe I read it wrong, but I thought Nexon. I've never even heard of them. But lastly, No Man's Sky continues to roll out free updates. A new update titled Frontiers will be the 17th free update for the Hello Games title. That is coming out. It's not out yet, but they have talked about it, and you can find more information on that. Jake, let's talk about new games coming out here. Notable games which hit the PSN since our last episode. Rustler on the PS5, PS4 looks like an old school Grand Theft Auto 1 version, kind of like weird game. Big Rumble Boxing, Creed Champions on the PS4. We need more boxing games, I think. There used to be some really good ones that came out on the PS3 back in the day. Fight Night might have been one, but we don't have boxing games, so that's kind of nice to see. And then the Medium dropped for PS5, which on review on Push Square really praised the game, indicated haptic feedback was a little desynced from the gameplay, which caused a little bit of immersion breaking stuff, but hopefully they get that patched and fixed. But new games coming out this week, Jake, September 7th. We're going to get Bus Simulator 21, Forged in Shadow Torch, Fist, PS5, PS4.
That game looks awesome.
I don't know anything about it. Yeah,
it looks really good.
Does it? And then
you're like a rabbit that has this huge fucking mechanical fist that just punches the shit out of stuff. It's a side scroller. It looks awesome. Cool.
Yeah,
I think it's actually developed in China, which is really interesting too.
Wow, weird. Yeah, Sonic Colors Ultimate PS4 September 8th. We're getting Struggling on PS4. September 9th, we're going to get the Tourist TOURYST PS5, PS4 Ultra Age PS4. And September 10th, we're getting Life is Strange True Colors PS5, PS4, which will be the full game. They announced that they weren't going to do it episodically, so they want you to be able to play the whole thing at once. And then Lost in Random, PS5, PS4, NBA 2022, PS5, PS4, Port Royal, PS5, PS4, and Tales of Arise, PS5 and PS4.
Do you know does your brother like the Tales games at all?
God, he likes so many games. Possibly.
Just because, I mean, he's a big JRPG fan, so I don't know if he liked the Tales stuff.
He's
but
still
Tales of
playing
Arise, I'm not even a big fan of JRPG, like this style of JRPG, but Tales of Arise looks really good.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It might be good. Jake, we're approaching the end of the show. We got a whole hour in this time, a little more than an hour. I appreciate you being here with me today and doing the podcast for the listeners. But unfortunately, there is no music to close out the show, so we need some submissions. So if you have a band, you have original music, and you want it featured on the show, send an MP3 to our email account, psthisisawesome@gmail.com, along with your band name and the title of the song, and we'll notify you when or if it goes live. And I guess just one last quick reminder, we do have that Patreon. We are killing it with 0 patrons right now. So we just thought it'd be a nice opportunity because we have people interested. We do have cool die cut stickers we're gonna give out. Maybe we'll give some out for awards or something, or maybe we'll have you guys hashtag the show and try to spread the love that way, and pick people at random to give you some stickers too. But another way to guarantee to get a sticker sent to you is to become a $1 patron on our Patreon site, patreon.com/PS. This is awesome. Help support the show. We'd like to get Jake's audio a little clearer. We're doing it online, so I think there are better ways to get his audio and without us breaking our backs or spending too much freaking time trying to do it. There are online services that offer that, but it comes at a monthly fee, and we just can't lose money doing the show, so we're not going to pay for that. We're going to keep hacking it the way we are. The audio quality is good enough, but if you'd like to see little improvements to the show that way, best way to make that happen is become a patron of the show. And like I said, you can do that at patreon.com/PS. This is awesome. Show your support to us that way if you'd like. So, Jake, do you have anything else you'd like to say here at the end of the show?
No. It's really hot in this room that I'm in right now, and my back is sweating like crazy on this chair. So I'm excited to go downstairs and where it's cool.
You got that back sweat going on. Nice.
Yeah, I think my blood's up still a little bit from playing hockey. So like I feel like I have a fever.
Oh man, I hope it's not anything else.
I don't got the Roni. I don't think I got the Roni. Yeah. Although they're starting to make you wear masks again certain places. So
I had a headache all day yesterday, and I thought maybe I had the Roni. After we golfed, right. I got home and I was just like, I had a headache. It was all day. And I realized I was probably just going through withdrawal from caffeine because I didn't have any caffeine. And it was like 9 o'clock at night. It's like, I got to go. I went and bought a soda and I just drank a Coke and it went away. It was weird that I'm dependent on it. Usually have a tea every day. And, this long weekend, I haven't had any. But I'll shut up about that. I guess, yeah. So if you want a reminder, I'm playing The Walking Dead live. I'm going to be doing live streams on there. And what I thought about doing, Jake, and I don't want to keep throwing random things at you on our show, maybe ways to do things with the podcast, but maybe as incentive, maybe something we could do, right, is lock away a live stream of us doing the podcast. And if people just happen to stumble on and they become a patron, they have access to the live stream and they can chime in while we're recording. That might be a cool thing to offer.
The problem with that, though, is that the only way it's really challenging for us to do the podcast at any time.
Schedule it, right?
Every single
week.
Doing scheduling. So trying to do it at a static time every single week is going to be almost impossible.
Hey,
it's more possible in the wintertime when there's not as much stuff going on, but it's going to be a really big hurdle. Like I could see doing like a monthly, like once a month, we'll do a live cast where it's like, we do one episode a month live or we do a special episode once a month live or something like that. But doing every single podcast live, I think, is asking a little bit much.
So maybe what we'll do is we'll say if we hit X amount of patrons, we will do something live exclusively for patrons. But we don't know what that's going to be yet. Once a month, though, I think that would be fun. Open up a private YouTube link, open the chat. Put the link to everyone who's a patron for $1. Maybe something like that might be kind of fun. It'd be easy for us to do. We almost would have to hit like a decent amount of patrons to probably do something live like that, right? Like 20, 25 people or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we can discuss that sometime.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Anyways, hey, that's well-wishing, hoping. So, like XCOM, Xmorph, Defense. Xmorph Defense. Like XCOM, Xmorph Defense, and Zeo Drifter with an X. P.S.
Yes.
This is
awesome.